CNN is able to tell you now that NBA star Kobe Bryant was on board that helicopter and is now dead at the age of 41. Our Christine Brennan is with us now on the phone. So, there you go. All right, we're able to see you. Christine, tell us what you know and how this confirmation was made.
Fred, this is tragic and terrible news. And as people are hearing this news, now confirmed by CNN and other news organizations, it is hitting them as just one of the most unthinkable things you could have here. CNN has confirmed this news. Kobe Bryant, 41 years old, had retired just a few years ago from the NBA after a stellar career, one of the greatest ever, Hall of Fame. He played only his entire career with one team, the Lakers, and in many ways he was the Los Angeles Lakers. So when you think of Kobe Bryant, it's sports, but it's more than sports. He was a part of our culture, Olympic teams, Hollywood. The father of 4 daughters. So recently he has been seen at women's sporting events, supporting the U.S. women's soccer team, WNBA games with his girls, and all about the empowerment of young women as well. Controversy, of course, allegations of sexual assault many years ago, but he overcame that and has become such a cultural icon and such, not just about sports, but about our culture and a huge piece of Americana. And so that's why this news is absolutely tragic, stunning, and a shocker. I'm sure that as people are listening in and finding out about this, they are as shocked as I was when I heard the news. It's truly awful.
Oh, it is heartbreaking, and to see these beautiful images of he and his wife, Vanessa, and their 4 daughters. And one of his most recent projects, I mean, this NBA star, had also started this children's, book program and was branching out into, animation, cartoons, as an educational tool for kids. He was very conscientious, Christine, of the power of his celebrity and taking it beyond, his 5 NBA championship title, perimeter, but making it much more broad and affecting a lot of people.
And that is why this news, it would be devastating anyway for anyone to lose their life. Mm-hmm. But then to have it be someone who has left the sports arena and has become part of our lives in so many ways. The Academy Awards. You mentioned his work in movies, his work in animation, his work with children's books. And looking ahead at the age of 41, still very young, looking ahead to a life and a career in all of those facets of media and of working for good. This is a man he came right out of high school, right to the NBA. And has been one of those names and one of those people that has been around us for a very long time. We're in love with athletes on a first name basis, some of the biggest names, and certainly Kobe has always been one of those. And so yes, looking ahead, retired a few years ago from the NBA, but not retired from our lives and not going away. And in fact, being a part of, as I said, as you said too, the culture and entertainment and showing up at the Academy Awards and being at places and big places, a big personality, a person who had so many more things to do. And I think if he had just been a basketball player and just been a great basketball player, that by itself would have made this news, of course, as stunning and as tragic as it is right now. But then because of the promise of what was yet to come and the fact that he would have had another 30, 40 years in the spotlight and was going to embrace those years, it's just, again, it's really, it's awful news. It's terrible. And of course, it's something that I think we're all just coming to grips with right now.
Christine, I just watched a documentary last week that involved him and helped you remember what that retirement, that moment was like for him when he walked into the Staples Center and talked about how, appreciative he was of Los Angeles and the Lakers of allowing him to grow up, of teaching him, to be a more giving player, what it was to become a team player. I mean, remarkable that audiences, were just reminded of that yesterday. Talk to me about your memories about how we watched him grow up with this huge responsibility of being a professional athlete and being a rising star, and how he grew and learned about the responsibility, of being a high-profile athlete.
Well, you're right. He was a kid when we first heard about him. He's coming out of high school right to the NBA, and we know how hard that is because the players have done it. And LeBron James certainly has done it. Kobe did it, but it's rare, and it's rare that the arc of the story would be so successful and just so majestic. And Kobe did learn. He talked about the mistakes he made. He was a kid. He goes from high school right to the LA Lakers, and a spotlight that New York, LA, maybe Chicago, there's so few places that spotlight burns so brightly. And Kobe embraced it and went right into that. And of course, there were issues. And well, it seems terrible to mention at this moment of his death that we're talking about the sexual assault allegations, the trial. That was a terrible moment, and that was not good. Obviously, I'm not going to sugarcoat that at all. But within those mistakes, there was also learning. And there was also a sense from him, as we saw, as I mentioned a little bit ago with his daughters, of wanting to be a part of showing them this new world for women and opportunities for women and girls. And so as you look at the arc of his life and his career, and you look at how he's grown and became just a stalwart in our culture, in the community, and as I said, the things that could have been coming forward over the next 20, 30 years in his life. I mean, that is, the tragedy is losing him, what he has done, the history of Kobe, Hall of Fame, one of the great names in sports and one of the great performers ever in the NBA and throughout sports, but also the promise of what he could do in our culture moving forward. Even though he was retired, there was so much more yet to come for
as
Kobe.
a 41-year-old man, still a very young man who could continue to make an impact and still will, I'm sure, even posthumously. Christine, thank you so much.